Thank you, everyone. Roll call, please. I'm here.
Here.
Commissioner Burke,
Present.
Commissioner Cannon,
Present.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Present.
Commissioner Underwood, absent. We have a quorum.
Mr. Cannon, welcome to the dais.
Thank you, sir.
This is his first meeting, okay? So take it easy on him. Okay, now we have our public business from the floor. Any person who would like to address the Planning Commission on any agendized item is requested to complete a speaker card for the recording secretary and identify the agenda item you would like to discuss. Each person will be given the opportunity to address the Planning Commission at the time such item is discussed by our commission. Speaker cards are available at the rear of the council chambers. Remember, speaker cards are limited to 3 minutes each. Give you guys an opportunity to do that. Otherwise, we'll move on to our minutes. So, Commission, we have the ability to review and approve our minutes from our regularly scheduled meeting of June 15th.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Hernandez. Any discussion? Okay, we're going to do an oral vote today because Mr. Cannon does not have the ability to log a vote electronically. Oh, we're good? Okay, never mind. So we'll do it the electronic way. So let's vote. Motion passes with 4 yeses, 1 abstention, and 1 absence. Well, with a new commissioner here, I think it'd be a good opportunity for all of us to get a refresher from our council here. So on some of the matters before us and how we vote and what to expect. So those of us in the audience will get a little education as well on what we do here as the Planning Commission. So council, if you can give us a little direction here, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Chairman Derryberry, and first of all, congratulations, Commissioner Cannon. Thank you. I just thought that as your Planning Commission counsel, and with staff's recommendation that I do so, I would present to you a little bit of an overview about 2 things which I think commissioners should focus on as they generally go about their duties. The 2 items are, number 1, to always look for findings that are required to be made for every land use application that comes before you. And the second is to keep an open mind and not pre-commit to approval or disapproval of any item that comes before you as a public hearing item until the public hearing is completed. And that's a matter of due process. I'll explain each in a minute and very briefly. First of all, regarding findings, staff always gives to you, and you have them in your agenda packet this evening on all 3 action items, proposed findings that you're required to make under the municipal code or state statute to approve a specific land use item. It's not enough simply, however, as a commissioner to recite the finding as recited to you in the staff report and the proposed resolution of approval. You have to actually think about the facts that support or perhaps don't support each required finding. And if you marshal enough facts in your own mind that support the finding that staff recommends for approval, then you can go ahead and make that finding and approve the item before you. If, on the other hand, you feel that there's one, maybe more than one finding that can't be made based on specific facts, that would entitle you to vote to disapprove the application in front of you. But you should, wherever possible, mention whatever fact that might be that causes you not to be able to approve an item. Now, that holds true for the first item tonight, which is modification of a tract map. The second item is a proposed conditional use permit. And the third item is a specific plan proposal. So, again, all the findings are set forth for your consideration in both the staff report and the proposed resolution of approval, if you should wish to proceed with approval. Now, to the other item that I mentioned, and that is to keep an open mind without pre-commitment regarding any matter that comes before you as part of a public hearing. Now, tonight, all three items are public hearing items. The law requires that you not pre-commit in advance of hearing testimony and receiving evidence at the public hearing regarding approval or disapproval of an item. That's to guarantee the fairness to the applicant, and for that matter, to any party that may be opposed to the application. And they're entitled to be heard fully before you make up your mind. So, for example, for each public hearing item, the chair will be asking first for staff to submit its staff report orally to you. After that's completed, the chair will be asking commissioners if you have any questions for staff. You should limit yourself at that point not to commenting on the pros and cons of the project, but instead simply ask questions of staff if you have them. Any discussion of pros and cons would take place after the public hearing is opened and testimony is heard and the public hearing is closed. At that point, but not before, that's when you can submit all your comments for the record, your feelings about the pros and the cons, etc. And that, I think, covers what I wanted to basically, for your thought and consideration, especially regarding the three items before you tonight, or today. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? You're very welcome. Okay, well then, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on item number 2. This is tentative track map modification number 26-001. And I think our presenter tonight will be Mitzi Alvarado. Ms. Alvarado, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Chairman Derryberry and members of the Planning Commission. This item we have before you is tentative map modification number 26001, which is for map 70182, a modification to its existing approval. And my name is Mitzi Alvarado. Again, I'm the associate planner on this project, and I'm presenting on behalf of Jocelyn Swain. The proposed project is located at the southwest corner of West Avenue I and 40th Street West. The project site is zoned as single-family residential, or R7000, and it consists approximately of 27.9 acres. It is vacant land, and it's made up entirely of 8 parcels. The subject property is surrounded by another single-family residential development immediately west, and also vacant land. The applicant for this project is the property owner, Civil Design and Drafting, Inc., represented by Ahmad Abujada, who is here if you have any questions. In March of 2019, Planning Commission approved tentative tract map 08-007-70182 and conditional use permit 15-16 for 139 lot single-family residential subdivision as a residential plan development, or RPD. This allowed for smaller lots in exchange for a public open space. The approval included 3 open space lots and 1 drainage lot, with all streets in the subdivision being private but built to public standards. The lots ranged in size from 3,900 square feet to 10,500 square feet. The proposed modification is mainly to update street alignment, which changed lot sizes from 3,900 square feet to the largest being 9,300 square feet, and would maintain the 19% open space. A notice of public hearing was mailed to property owners per the Lancaster Municipal Code, as well as posted in 3 public places and noticed in the Antelope Valley Press on July 9th. No public letters or no public comment letters have been received on this item. With that, staff recommends Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2609, recommending approval for a tentative map modification 26001 to allow for the modification of the previously approved tentative tract map and CUP, and finding that the adopted ISM&D and MMRP adequately address all environmental impacts and no further environmental review is necessary. Myself and the applicant are here to answer any questions you may have.
Wonderful. There may be some. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Alvarado or the applicant? Does the applicant have anything to add this afternoon? Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
Chair Derryberry, there are no speaker cards for this item.
Okay. Anyone on the dais have any comments or questions? None? Then I'll entertain a motion. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing without objection, and we'll open the floor for a motion.
I motion to adopt resolution number 26-10, approving tentative map modification number 26-001 to allow for the adjustment of the private street configuration and resolution lot dimensions and sizes previously approved as tentative track map number 08-007, 70182, and conditional use permit number 15-016 on 27.9 gross acres bound by Avenue I, 40th Street West, Jackman Street, and 42nd Street West, identified as assessor's parcel number 3153-008-006-007-10-11-12-13-14, and 17 in the R7000 zone, and finding that the previously adopted initial study mitigated negative declaration, SCH number 201929061, and mitigation monitoring and reporting program adequately addresses all environmental impacts, and no further environmental review is necessary pursuant to Public Resource Code, Section 21166, and CEQA Guidelines, Section 15162.
Quite a mouthful. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Second by Mr. Hernandez. Any more discussion? Then let's vote. Motion carries 5 yeses with 1 absence. Next up, we have item number 3. This is conditional use permit number 26-008. Our presenter tonight is Ms. Alvarado again, so again, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. This next item is conditional use permit 26008 for Resilient Recovery Treatment Center. The proposed project is located at 43900 Clark Court. The project site is zoned single-family residential or R7000, and it consists of a single-family house and an ADU. The existing community care facility is Resilient Treatment Center, and it has been in operation within that single-family home since February of 2023. The applicant for this project is the property owner, Vadim Legov, and he is here to answer any questions you also may have after this presentation. In May of 2026, the applicant applied for a conditional use permit, or a CUP, to allow for the expansion of the community care facility from 6 beds within the single-family house and adding 6 more beds in the existing ADU for a maximum of 12 beds on the site. The provision of care for more than 6 residents is considered a health facility per Section 1708050 of the Lancaster Municipal Code, or the LMC. In the R7000 zoned, health facilities are required to obtain a conditional use permit for more than 6 beds. The facility provides beds to individuals seeking treatment recovery services within the residential program. The maximum 30-day program offers medically supported detox with staffed employees of the facility as well as medical professionals. The facility is 24 hours and is staffed with approximately 12 employees that have staggered schedules. There are rules of conduct for the clients, such as no loud or unnecessary noise, disposing of trash appropriately, and remaining within the approved facility boundaries. There are also operational safety procedures for the facility, such as no loitering policies, daily inspections, and crisis intervention for situations that render actions such as de-escalation, CPR, first aid, and Narcan administration. Security measures are also in place, such as alarm systems and camera surveillance systems. The facility has been and is required to comply with all applicable provisions of Section 1250 of the California Health and Safety Code. I want to take a moment and just say that they have an existing community care facility, a health facility, with the maximum 6 beds that is allowable by the state. So regardless of the decision tonight for the proposed CUP, they are allowed per that section of the state requirement to operate with the 6 beds. A public notice was mailed to property owners within 500-foot radius on July 8th, as well as posted in 3 public places and noticed in the Antelope Valley Press on July 9th. There is also a posting sign that was posted on the site on July 9th. To date, we have received 10 letters from 8 households within the vicinity, and staff has had conversations with the applicant as well as residents within the past week. Some of those topics include traffic, security, among other concerns, and all of those comments were provided to you in your agenda, or they were provided after the agenda posted, and they've been provided to you at this moment. With that, staff recommends we allow the expansion for the Extension Community Care Facility from 6 beds to 12 at 43900 Clark Court, finding that the project is categorically exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act, authorizing staff to execute and file the notice of exemption. Myself, along with the applicant, are available for any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Alvarado? The applicant isn't obliged to, but if you'd like to address us, you're more than welcome to take the floor, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners, and City staff. My name is Vadim Legov, and I am the founder and CEO of Resilient Recovery Treatment Center. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today and for your service to the City of Lancaster. Before I explain our request, I'd like to share why this project means so much to me. Nearly 8 years ago, addiction took me to the darkest place in my life. It took everything from me. I couldn't see a future anymore. I truly believed that there was no way out, but someone believed I deserved another chance when I couldn't believe in myself. The opportunity changed my life. Today, I stand before you as a husband, a father to a 4-year-old daughter with a baby boy on the way, and someone whose life was completely transformed by recovery. Our program is licensed by the California Department of Healthcare Services and accredited by the Joint Commission, reflecting our commitment to providing safe, ethical, high-quality addiction treatment. For more than 3 years, we have had the privilege of serving the Lancaster community from this location. Throughout that time, we have worked hard to be responsible neighbors by maintaining our property, responding to concerns, and continually improving our operations. Every Christmas since opening, we have proudly participated in the Candy Cane Lane tradition by decorating our home alongside our neighbors. We value being a part of this community, and being a good neighbor has always been important to us. Every day, our mission is simple: to provide safe, compassionate, high-quality addiction treatment that helps people rebuild their lives, reunite with their families, and become productive members of our community. Today's request is straightforward. We are asking to expand the current use on our property to increase our license capacity from 6 beds to 12 beds. We are simply requesting approval to utilize an existing structure. There is no upcoming construction, no change in the services we provide. I understand and respect the concerns that have been expressed. This is a family neighborhood, and I'm a family man myself. I appreciate those concerns because I share many of the same values. If approved, we will continue working every day to be the kind of neighbor this community deserves. Each additional bed represents another opportunity for someone to rebuild their life, reunite with their family, return to work, and contribute positively to our community. I hope you will consider our track record over the past 3 years, the professionalism of our team, and the positive impact this program has already had in Lancaster. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your approval. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your service.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So you currently have 6 patients in treatment at any one time, is up to 6 patients, correct?
Up to 6, yes.
Now, what's your patient to occupant ratio?
patient to occupant, do you mean staff to patient ratio?
Correct, I said
Yeah,
that.
1 to 6.
1 to 6.
1 to 6.
So you have one staff member on for
For
6
6
patients,
clients, yes,
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
So what's your plan with the expansion? Same ratio?
We're hoping to get above, I guess, 6 beds, right? So I think same ratio, everything will be the same. We're just adding one more staff member into the mix on each of the 3 shifts.
So you have 3 people a day.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how many, if any, calls of service to the Sheriff's Department or Lancaster PD you've had to your facility since you opened?
We've had a couple, but one major one we had was an overdose we had at the facility. We did our due diligence of calling for emergency services so they can respond right away. That's our protocol if everything we've done is, incongruent. And I believe that's it. That's the one major one I think we have.
Are you aware of any calls of service from any of your neighbors or the surrounding occupants, the other residences?
No.
Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant?
I do. I am aware that you can open the facility with 6 beds. The state allows that right.
Yes.
That isn't something that we're subject to. Is there a particular reason why you're choosing to expand to 12 beds at this particular location?
Yes, we've been serving for this location for 3 years, and we've updated our policies and protocol each year to make sure we're ready for this expansion.
Do you operate other facilities in the city?
Not in this city, but I have a sober living I operate after this program. They go to my sober living that's where they get jobs. They become, members of society and go to meetings and have curfews and stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we have a number of speakers. There's an opportunity potentially for you to come back. We may have some more questions for you, so don't go too far, okay?
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. So I know we have some speakers. Mr. Nguyen?
Chair Derryberry, we have an additional 17 speakers.
Okay. Who's up first?
First one up is Dmitry Legov, followed by Scott Roberts. So Dmitry?
Mr. Legoff, you're up first, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dmitry Legov. I am father of Vadim, and I'm serve at the operation as a registered nurse with 20 years of intensive care experience. And also, I'm one of the owners of the house with my wife. We bought this place in 2022, and given history that Vadim already described, it was the family decision, okay, that we want to help others, and we do have resources and desire to do so. We've been operating since 2023, and as a medical professional, my role is to make sure that all the patients get their services at the facility safely and with the proper care. But as a owner of this place, as a father, and as a member of community, I truly do care about the neighborhood and safety of the others. Like Vadim said, we knew this is the Candy Cane Lane, this is the iconic place in city of Lancaster, and we are trying to make this neighborhood even safer. Having 24-hour stuff, having surveillance cameras. Yes, it was bumpy road, okay? And given the who do we treat there, it takes a lot to make sure that everything is going smooth for everyone around. And 3 years into the operation, we are ready to expand. And again, I've seen the concerns, okay? I've read the letters. I understand. But as a neighbor, as a father, I truly believe that we can accommodate amount of people that we asking for to be there safely for them and everybody around. So therefore, I'm asking you to approve this project and let us try to give to the community whatever we desire. That will be all.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Who's up
you.
next?
Scott Roberts is next, followed by Jack Wang.
Mr. Roberts.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair and honorable commissioners. My name is Scotty Roberts, and I am the outreach coordinator for Monarch Recovery Center, located in Ventura County. I also serve as a referral source for Resilience Recovery Treatment Center. Monarch Recovery Center and Resilience Recovery have a strong professional relationship built on trust, collaboration, and a shared mission to provide high-quality care for those in need. We regularly refer clients to one another and ensure individuals receive the appropriate level of care along with the recovery journey. Resilience Recovery consistently demonstrates professionalism, compassion, and a deep commitment to their clients and families. Their team is responsive, accountable, and invested in long-term recovery outcomes. I fully support their request to expand from 612 licensed bed. The expansion will allow them to help more individuals and families in our community who are in need of life-changing treatment.
Thank you, sir. Who's up next?
Next up is Jack Wang. Following Jack is Robert Keem.
Good afternoon, Chair and Honorable Commissioner. My name is Jack Wong. I'm the nurse practitioner at Resilient Recovery Treatment Center. My responsibility here is to provide medical care to our patients. I perform medical evaluations, medication management, and monitor withdrawals, and also other medical conditions. I also work closely with our medical director and the clinical team to ensure every patient receives safe and evidence-based care. From my direct experience at this facility, I can confidently say that patient safety is our highest priority. Every patient is medically screened prior to admission and continuously monitored throughout treatment and cared for under established clinical protocols. In my professional opinion, increasing resilience capacity from 6 beds to 12 beds does not change the quality or safety of the medical care we provide. Our clinical standards, supervision, staffing, emergency procedures, and oversight remains exactly the same. What this expansion does change, however, is access to treatment. Every additional licensed bed is another opportunity for someone with substance use disorder to receive medical care, instead of remaining untreated in our communities. As a nurse practitioner, I believe expanding access to safe, supervised treatment benefits not only our patients, but the community as a whole. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Robert Keem, followed by Manuk Mike Parsamian.
Good afternoon, Chair and Honorable Commissioners. My name is Robert Keim. I'm 60 years old. I am an alumni from the Resilient Recovery Treatment Center. I spent 30 days in residential treatment where I safely completed detox and received the structured education and support I needed to rebuild my life. During my treatment, my employer accidentally terminated my health insurance. Instead of giving up on me and asking me to leave, Vadim and the head lead technicians worked with my employer's human resource department and insurance company until my coverage was reinstated, allowing me to complete my treatment without interruption. After completing residential treatment, they safely transitioned me into an intensive outpatient program and helped me move on to a sober living home so I can continue my recovery. Today, I have 128 days sober. I attend my AA meetings. I participate in an intense outpatient treatment, and I continue to rebuild my life. I truly believe that this program changed my life, and I hope you will approve the expansion so more people and families can receive the same opportunity I did. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations on your recovery. Who's up next?
Next up is Manuk Mike Parsamian, followed by Rebecca Legov.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Mike Parsamian, and I'm the owner of Mindspace Recovery Center, an outpatient substance use and mental health treatment program in North Hollywood. In addition to owning Mindspace, I've worked as a nurse for the past 14 years. And throughout my career, I've seen firsthand how important it is for people to have timely access to quality behavioral health care. I understand how critical it is for every level of care to be available so individuals can receive the treatment that's appropriate for their needs. Mindspace Recovery Center has worked closely with Resilient Recovery Treatment Center throughout the strong professional referral partnership. As an outpatient program, we regularly refer clients who need residential treatment, and Resilient Recovery also has referred individuals to us when they are ready to transition to outpatient care. Together, we help ensure clients continue their recovery without unnecessary gaps in treatment. From our experience, Resilient Recovery has been professional, ethical, and reliable partner. Their team has always demonstrated a commitment to providing quality care and doing what is the best interest of the people they serve. As someone who works in behavioral health care every day, I know our community needs more access to treatment. When quality programs have the ability to serve more people safely and responsibly, it benefits not only the individuals receiving the care, but also their families and our community as a whole. For this reason, I fully support Resilient Recovery's request to expand from 6 to 12 licensed beds. I believe the expansion will strengthen the continuum of care in our community and help more people receive the treatment that they need at the right time. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, Rebecca Legov, followed by Brian Kingston.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and City staff. My name is Rebecca Legov, Chief Financial Officer and co-founder at Resilient Recovery. Sorry. I oversee our financial operations, budgeting, payroll, human resources, and administrative compliance. Since opening in February 2023, we have focused on building a strong organization before requesting expansion. This approach ensures that our growth is responsible, sustainable, and always centered on patient care. At this time, we are in a position to financially support this expansion. We maintain adequate reserves, manage our resources responsibly, and continuously reinvest in improving our staff, training, and patient care. Expanding from 6 to 12 licensed beds is a natural next step that will allow us to serve more individuals seeking treatment while maintaining the same standards. Sorry. Aside from being the co-founder and CFO, I'm also a wife, mom, and woman in recovery. I'm also pregnant, so I'm sorry, guys. I understand why families care about the safety of their neighborhoods because I care about those same things and would never support this expansion if I believed it had a negative impact on the community. Over the past 3 years, I've seen our team operate professionally, respectfully, and with compassion while helping people rebuild their lives. Expanding to 12 beds will allow us to help more people without changing the way we care for our clients or our commitment to being good neighbors. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next up is Brian Kingston, followed by Christine Shakarian.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, honorable commissioners, and neighbors. My name is Brian Kingston. I'm the program director at Resilient Recovery. I'm also a certified alcohol drug counselor 3 times over. It means I have over 9,000 supervised hours, and also a bachelor's in sociology. I care about the addiction field. Also, my family and I own a home on Candy Cane Lane. So I'm also a neighbor where I'm raising my family. My 17-year-old son, 80-year-old mom who's got disability, and a new 14-day baby boy. Yeah, so I'm a family man and a neighbor, as well as a staff member, and I care deeply about recovery, as I am also in recovery, coming up on 16 years of sobriety. As both treatment professional and neighbor, I see this program 2 perspectives. Every day, I oversee residential treatment program operations. I supervise staff, ensure our policies are followed. We work directly with the individuals and the clients who are recovering from substance use disorder. I help them with their treatment plans and work with them on rebuilding their physical, emotional, spiritual, social health. And a lot of that helped me become a neighbor in Candy Cane Lane here in Lancaster. I deeply care about the neighborhood because my family lives here, and I saw the welcoming of this neighborhood. I wasn't a neighbor when I first started at Resilient, but when I saw how welcoming the neighborhood was to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people during Christmas, Halloween, decorating their homes, dedicating themselves to bringing hope in the holiday seasons to the people that might not be able to have a decorated home, and then welcoming us as a treatment center there. It truly impacted my decision on buying a home on Candy Cane Lane. And I support the expansion because I know that there isn't a risk to my family. I mean, I've got my 80-year-old mom. I got my newly found wife, just been married about over a year. And my baby, I have a baby boy and a 17-year-old son who's growing up, growing out. And I see the opportunities that Resilient brings to the neighborhood and the neighborhood that brings it to Resilient. You bring the neighborhood brings hope to those that we serve there. So expanding to from 6 to 12 would not change our standards of care, supervision, or professionalism. It'll simply help us help more people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Christine Shakarian, followed by Philip Drayton Gibbs.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. My name is Christine Shakarian. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I serve as clinical director for Resilient Recovery Treatment Center. I oversee clinical operations, including treatment planning, supervision of our clinical staff, quality assurance, and ensuring that every client receives individualized evidence-based care. Every client receives an individualized treatment plan based on their needs, and our clinical team works together to provide care in a safe, structured, and supportive environment. Over the past several years, we have built strong clinical systems, invested in qualified staff, and maintained high standards of care. Our treatment model emphasizes safety, accountability, and individualized recovery planning. From a clinical perspective, I support this request to expand from 6 to 12 licensed beds. I am confident that our clinical team, supervision, and treatment processes can continue to provide safe, effective, and compassionate care, while serving additional patients. Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Next up is Philip Drayton Gibbs, followed by Michael Tran.
Good afternoon, Chair and Honorable Commissioners. My name is Philip Drayton Gibbs. I'm a proud member of the Resilient Recovery alumni. By the grace of God, I have a little bit over 2 years clean and sober today. When I went into Resilient Recovery, I was hopeless. I was beaten down by life, and I was in a toxic relationship. Not only did they help give me the counseling to recover from alcohol and drugs, but they helped counsel me to believe in myself, right? And they believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and showed me that I was worth a lot more than I was giving myself credit for. And today I have a full-time job. I'm actually just got promoted to a foreman. I've got a house of my own now. I've got a beautiful fiance. I've got healthy relationships with friends, family. By the grace of God, my dad is 61 years old. Never seen him sober in my life. He's got a little over 7 months clean and sober right now, back in Oklahoma. And I give that credit to God, but he gives it to me. And that wouldn't be possible if I hadn't have gone through Resilient Recovery. And so I know firsthand not only the impact that this treatment center has on people's lives, but also the lives of everyone else that come in contact with the person that comes out of that recovery treatment center clean and sober. With that being said, I fully support the expansion from 6 beds to 12 beds. It just means more lives that can be changed by this horrible epidemic that's struck in not just this state or city, but this country. That's all I've got.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Michael Tran, followed by Martin J. Welch.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. The first thing I was very impressed of Commissioner Byrd say that the quality of life through our city. And not only that, I'm a college professor who actually teach at Antelope Valley College for 27 and a half years already. And graduate many engineers, doctors, and also nurses, and they work on this valley, which is great. I have so many students come back and teach at the college as well. Not only that, our neighbor has a very status. We have lawyers, we have nurses, we have doctors, we have educators who actually move into our neighborhood. And of course, you know, we're human. We will decay at some point. And some of my wonderful neighbors, they get older, and their kids moving out, and they have to move out. And of course, I witnessed so many great neighbors moving in and share our cultures and also our communities. And then the word spread out. Not only that, it reached out to Palmdale as well. And not only that, it also reached out to Actons. People like to show up in our neighbor and then congratulate what we did for our Christmas days and share stories. And then, of course, we want this not to happen in our neighborhood. For one thing I wanted to share with you, the owner is not living there. I live there, plus with my 12 neighbors who show up today. There was a big incident. The SWAT team will show up. And I would say, shoot, M16 in my neighborhood? The cases, which is I don't know much, but then there's a couple incidents where ambulance show up, which is the owner was not there either. So that caused a lot of traffics and then cut down the resource from our emergencies process and then have it to increase from 6 to 12. As a math professors, when you teach in statistics, if you move in from one normal distribution to double it, you actually increase by a factor of 9. I rounded up because E is 2.71, yeah? And then I just rounded up to 3. So that way you guys can see the number figured out much better. I mean, if you increase from one normal distribution to 2, you actually exponential it to 9 factors of problem. That's it. I'm out of time. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Martin J. Welch, followed by Patricia Garcia.
Chairman Derryberry and the council, good afternoon. My name is Martin Welch. I lived in Clark Court for 6 years. I'm a retired engineer for the Air Force at Edwards. So far, the facility there, and nobody doubts the good work that they're doing and the help that they're putting out there. But so far, it's been the 6-bed. It's been pretty manageable. It's almost equivalent to just a single-family residence with a lot of people living there and the associated parking and traffic. But by doubling it now, it's going to move kind of conceptually beyond, to me, a single-family residence. It's now like a small apartment complex in that part of the cul-de-sac. And given all the traffic and the things that Mike was just talking about, it's hard to see that it's not going to get not linearly worse, but significantly worse, or potentially significantly worse. And it's also a commercial business that we need to look at as well. And like Mr. Legoff said, there's some bumpy roads in there. Problem with from our perspective is we're on that bumpy road with them. So there's any business operates with risk and reward. The reward goes to the business, but and it's personal to them, but the risk is all socialized. And anything that goes wrong, we end up having to deal with as a community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Patricia Garcia, followed by Michael S. Vogel.
Ms. Garcia, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Patricia Garcia. Good afternoon to the chairman, commissioner, city council members. I actually sent videos, which I was told could not be displayed here, but it was shared. My home is actually directly behind the main house. And I have a pool, and they have a pool on their side. They have a patio with a gazebo. So what happens in my backyard is I'm no longer enjoying the use of it. My husband's a helicopter mechanic. He's 1 week on, 1 week off of work. And he cannot be around cannabis. And you can smell the pot. When they're outside smoking even cigarettes, you can smell the cigarettes. And when we're in our spa, we don't smoke. A lot of their cigarettes and the butts have been thrown into our yard. We showed pictures of that as well. And we did have the owners come. It took us till November to find out who the owners were, and we have an address of Encino, California. And they actually came to our house, and they were very sincere about, their concerns, our concerns with the trash being thrown into our yard. But we also had, by the way, I didn't even know they were in there until May of 2025 when the sheriff showed up, because they were there to help the U.S. Marshals serve a warrant on a fugitive. And they wanted to have access to my yard. They said, stay indoors, keep away from the windows, because we're trying to find a guy from New York, and if he runs into your yard. Then in, I think it was September, I ended up finding another police officer that were also wanting access to my yard because they were serving a warrant as well as there. I talked to that deputy, and he said, do you have cameras in your backyard? At that time, I didn't. And he says, I suggest you put cameras in your backyard because of the nature of the business. And sure enough, we put cameras in, and within a month, we had one of their clients jumping into our backyard, running across my yard, which, by the way, my daughter had just been outside 30 minutes prior to that. And that was a big issue because we were concerned that we were going to lose privacy in our backyard. So we have not even privacy in our own backyard anymore because everything we do is caught on camera. And so this, for me, I say no. It's hard enough with 6 people smoking and us breathing that in. I don't even want to consider like 12. That's a lot of people. And a lot of times when people are addicts, they turn to smoking. That's one of the things they do. So I thank you for your time, and I hope that you do not approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Next up is Michael S. Vogel, followed by Vicki Lynn Vogel.
Mr. Vogel, you're up, sir. Welcome.
Well, good afternoon, Commissioner and Commissioners. My name is Mike Vogel, and I've lived in this valley since 1970. I've lived on Clark Court since 2000. And the lure of us moving to Clark Court was the reputation that it had in the valley, the neighbors, kids that played Little League together, all that sort of stuff. The first half, most of those people have been in rehab, which I am completely in support of the business. I have no objection to it, whatever we can do to help. However, outside of Brian has been a neighbor. I've talked to Brian, we've interacted, setting up decorations. Nobody else associated with that facility have I ever talked to, except maybe, I think it was Demetra. Once, the first year, the neighbors were concerned Christmas wasn't going up. And I don't know, not officially, usually one of the persons that says, hey, Mike, you need to go down there and talk to the neighbors and get them straight. Had no idea, never any warning, knowledge that it was a rehab center of any type until months after the transaction had occurred and the Rosens, the previous owners, had moved out. And I talked to Demetra, the first time I'd ever seen him, and he said, no problem, I'll have some guys out and they'll put up decorations, and they have every year since. 26 years on that street, my children were raised there, and now we've had the pleasure of our grandchildren are now in the picture, and they reap the benefits of Clark Court. Christmas, Halloween is extra special when you've got 4, 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. It's those special bonding moments that make Clark Court so special. The neighbors through the years have come from different ethnicities, cultures, religions, and that's part of the beauty of it. Educators, engineers, doctors, nurses, lawyers, and it makes it all great. Christmas and Halloween we've been talked about. Again, no prior knowledge to this, no prior knowledge to the remodeling to convert the garage into a 12-bed facility until about when the sign went up. And in a residential neighborhood, to me, does not count 12 beds, and I've counted as many as 4 or 5 cars from the workers at one time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vogel.
Next up is Vicky Lynn Vogel, followed by Christina Coyle.
Hello. I would just like to point out, echoing my husband's work, I'm not doubting the quality of care that's happening at the care facility. I would like to point out to you that I believe we've heard from 2 alumni from the facility, and all of the other speakers in favor benefit financially. Their owners, their employees, their business does referral work with the facility, and so that's who's spoken in favor. We live in Clark Court. My husband said it's been delightful. That is true. People buy on Clark Court for a variety of reasons, this sense of community. We think Clark Court means something to the city of Lancaster and the people in the AV. About 3 years ago, when these extensive renovations went in, we wondered what was going on. Seemed very hush-hush. Extra security, passcodes, no notification on the street whatsoever. We had concerns from the beginning. People in cars started arriving. Vehicles parked in front of our house daily. More traffic, deliveries. The beauty of our cul-de-sac is that there's not traffic. There is no intersection. People don't come down unless they have a purpose on our 12 houses. Well, now there's a big purpose with deliveries and men, even in the middle of the night. I don't know if the next door neighbors are speaking today, but late night, doorbell ringing because deliveries are going to the wrong houses and so on. Well, I've seen the emergency crews there. I've seen a person escorted on a stretcher. I wondered what was going on. But we wonder a lot of things. And then 1 week ago, or 10 days exact, 11 days exact, the sign went up. Want to go to a 6-bed facility. My husband and I, both retired teachers, me 34 years, Lancaster School District. Michael taught 25 years at Palmdale High, severely emotionally disturbed students, a very at-risk population. Mike is known for his great calmness, his rapport with students, focus on academics, helping students turn their behaviors around. And he was very successful and highly thought of. His teaching assistant and him had 9 students this one particular year. It was going great. And then things started changing. The principal asked him, "What's going on in there? Now you're calling admin, now you're calling security." What's going on is they doubled the class size to 9. Yes, doubled it. And as has been spoken, doubling the number exponentially increases problem situations, interactions among others, and they're not doubling the space. Severely at-risk individuals need space. Oh boy, when I finally met Vadim, when I did know Christian previously, came to my house a week ago.
Thank you, Ms. Vogel. I'm sorry to cut you off. Your time's up. Thank you.
If there's another speaker, could they finish my comments if they choose to?
That's up to them.
It's up to Christina Coyle. Christina Coyle is next, followed by Sandra Gordon.
Good afternoon, Commissioner and Council. I'm representing my Neighborhood Watch, and my neighborhood is on J9 and 30th. We're part of Eliopolis, from that sad area there, and also Secure Place. And so one of the questions I have for them is, why was there an overdose? I'm very familiar with the safe houses. My son was in a safe house. He was an alcoholic. And I have to tell you that they get out of the safe house because they're not watched. And apparently 1 to 6 is not enough, because while they're asleep, they're jumping over in neighbors' yards, as we just heard. My son had Narcan on him. He was never in there for drugs, but he was an alcoholic. And he saved 3 people with Narcan, because he found them when they came in and they were loaded. And so he got one kid out of the garage. He was freezing in the wintertime, and he walked him to his bed and sprayed his nose and said, "Here's a bucket, throw up in this." And he said, "Don't mess up my bathroom, because I'm the one that cleans it." He had a job there. That was his job. So later on, and I'm wondering, they let felons come in from the prison because they had to come in and do rehab. Is that what's going to happen there too? You know, I wonder, are there any right now from the prison that are in there? And these are felons, they're not misdemeanors. So, you know, I'm just concerned about everything. You know, like I said, we've had 3 meetings for our Neighborhood Watch, and our chief of police came and spoke with us, and we explained a lot of things to him, and he gave us a lot of answers. But like I said, is that a safe house? But who is it safe, and who is it safe for whom? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next up is Sandra Gordon, followed by Kevin Walsh.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Sandra Gordon. I'm here on behalf of my husband, John Meyer. We both live on Clark Court. I would like to comment about what what Attorney Deach said about what your obligation here is for this decision. You need to make certain specific findings of fact. One principal finding of fact you need to make under Lancaster Municipal Code is whether this expansion is compatible with the neighborhood. And from the testimony you've heard from Ms. Garcia and Ms. Vogel and the lady who spoke before me, it is not compatible with the neighborhood. You asked Mr. Legov why the expansion, and I noticed he did not answer your question. We've heard a lot of moving testimony about the success of the recovery and the good work that I'm sure the facility does, that is not the issue. The issue is whether the expansion is consistent with our neighborhood. This is a 12-home cul-de-sac. Parking is already limited. It's already hard to get in and out. How many of the staff members will bring cars? How many of the residents will bring cars? Where will they park? You haven't been given enough factual finding to approve this CUP. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Kevin Walsh, followed by Eddie Gonzalez.
Mr. Walsh, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Kevin Walsh. I'm a retired NASA aerospace engineer and project manager. My wife have lived on Secure Place directly behind the subject home. I would like to thank the previous presenters who live in the neighborhood on Clark Court. I want to reiterate what they have said. And like them, we didn't know what was going on with the property until all of a sudden construction workers were there, remodeling. It was a large RV garage that was remodeled. And my wife, like I mentioned, we've lived there for 36 years. I am not here to oppose recovery services. I'm all for that. I am here because the existing 6-resident operation has already had a significant impact on our neighborhood. We have experienced repeated excessive noise, loud music, profanity, loss of peaceful enjoyment of our property, and even a serious safety incident when a large metal canopy blew into our backyard during a windstorm. This canopy was metal poles about approximately 20 feet long, 12 feet high, 12 feet wide, and during a Santa Ana event, it was very fortunate that my wife and I were looking out our kitchen window in our backyard and see this large tank blowing over the wall, and we ran out just in time to catch it before it hit our house. If we weren't there, damage could have happened to our house. These are not hypothetical concerns. They are events we have personally experienced. I have provided more details in a 2-page letter that I sent to Ms. Alvarado. I respectfully ask the council, the commission, to consider whether doubling the occupancy from 6 to 12 residents is compatible with our single-family neighborhood. Therefore, I respectfully ask that you deny conditional use permit 26-008. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Eddie Gonzalez, followed by Nashwin Alsaman.
Mr. Gonzalez, the floor is yours, sir.
Hi, thank you guys for hearing us out, Chairman and Commissioners. I actually have nothing planned for you guys. I wasn't even going to speak. I am actually a resident of Candy Cane Lane. I highly support what they do. I'm not against it. On the contrary, we have actually had family that had treatment, but I am opposed from going from 6 beds to 12 beds because with that treatment, I also know that there is a lot of unpredictability that can happen in the process, and that state of mind that I've witnessed is not. I feel that in the process of being in that rehabilitation, they can leave whenever they want. And if they're not in the right state of mind, what's stopping them from getting into our house? I have 3 daughters and a little one. And my biggest concern is if they do decide to leave and they walk away and they're not in the right state of mind and they don't know what they're doing, how that's going to put my family at risk, and which is my biggest concern. Other than that, I have nothing. I have seen a lot of traffic that does get increased, but that's my biggest concern. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Lastly, we have Nashwin Alsaman.
Good afternoon. My name is Nashwan Al-Saman. I am the next door of the rehab house. I come to United States 25 years ago. I've been visit this street every Christmas with my family, we dream to buy house in this area. So one above of my project, over my money. In the end, I buy house 11 years ago. After that, we do Christmas, we are happy. We don't know is rehab next door. I have most of the time coming Uber Eat or something. This your food, it's not mine, next door. I sleep 9, 10 o'clock. I am businessman in the community here. I have many businesses. I wake up in the morning, 3, 4 cars in my sidewalk, block almost my house completely in the front. So we don't know it's rehab center or something. And now they want to double it, even if we can say no in the 6th bed, but I know is by state, or they can have it with no meeting or any license. But now they want to move it from 6 to 12 bed. It's a lot of new face I see in the morning walking with him every month, couple months, 5, 6 new faces walking in and out in the sidewalk. So I think it's not good idea to raise it from 6 to 12 for my neighbor. And I am sure it's dangerous for everybody in my street. That's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Chair Derryberry, that concludes our speaker cards. I will announce that we've received 3 different types of letters. They were received around the time the meeting started and after. We printed them off and are providing them to you right now.
Wonderful. The first letter we had was from Mr. Walsh, one of the speakers tonight. Looks like the second one was from Darren Lipschitz. And the third one was from Elsie Winheim. So we'll note that for the record, we did receive them. I can tell you I haven't reviewed it yet, and neither has anyone here on the dais. So I do have a couple questions, maybe Ms. Alvarado, you might be able to answer. So currently, the 6 occupants that are at the facility currently each have a bedroom to themselves, correct? As I reviewed the plans, there's a 6-bedroom available in the house for the occupants.
So I think 2 bedrooms are shared, but I'll defer to the applicant to confirm here.
Okay.
1 bedroom is shared.
And these are all, the expansion in the ADU in the rear of the property is 2 occupants per bedroom. Is that what we're looking at here?
That is correct.
Anyone have any questions for staff?
I've got one question, and maybe you can educate me a little bit on it. Is there a guideline or sort of requirement as far as like spacing and distances between facilities of this type?
So I think the state has that requirement. I believe it may be the 300 feet, but I haven't seen another facility on this site.
Okay.
The applicant actually might know a little bit more than me on that.
Is that something they'd be willing to share if they have that number?
Vice Chair Carrillo, I'll just add to that in the Lancaster Municipal Code, it doesn't indicate any type of distance like it is for other types of uses like, alcohol, bars, smoke shops, that type of stuff.
Sorry, if I may add, the applicant has confirmed there is no distance requirement for this particular type of use per the state requirement.
So what I heard, just talking here, what I heard is that we're going to seek to double the occupancy and also double the staffing as well. So I've got some pretty extreme concerns because right now I'm estimating the current house is a 4,000-ish square foot house. The ADU is a small fraction of that. We're gonna have the same occupancy of individuals seeking treatment in that extremely smaller location with only 1-to-1 staff the way that it was, 1 to 6 staff the way it is currently. So some of the comments I heard this evening with respect to does the use fit the neighborhood? Are we going to be able to keep the neighborhood safe? That's some of my concerns. So those are some of my comments. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add.
Yeah, I guess for staff, I mean, I remember my first vote was the King Bar, right? So there were specific guidelines for the CPU. Are there any guidelines for the CPU that have been outlined that maybe could be shared with not only us, but the residents as well of, you know, I mean, if there were any incident calls, the CPU could be pulled, right? Things like that where, you know, I don't think anybody in here wants nobody not to get treatment, right? But then as well, we don't also want to cause issues for the homeowners there, right? So what would those guidelines be for the conditional use?
So there are conditions of approval that have been drafted. The applicant has received a copy. He's gone over them and formally understands them. They have a lot to do with not creating a public nuisance because it is in a residential zone, and making sure that they have their safety plan in effect and maintained. Everything else is inspections and requirements by you know, other entities, whether it be building and safety for ADA requirements, potentially fire department to make sure the occupancy is up to date, and then any state requirements with health department, things like that.
And then I have one more right after that. So again, like Chair said, everything, and echoing the neighborhood, right? Would it be fair to maybe start with less than 6, right? So like in the ADU, maybe start with, you know, conditions to see how, if nothing else changed, right? Because we already, you know, heard from the neighborhood, maybe there's a couple ambulance visits, maybe a couple police visits, maybe starting out with 2 people in the ADU, and then kind of going from there, right? I mean, if it's a new business, right, we all have, you know, there's struggles, there's hurdles to go through to make sure that everything you're implementing is correct. So I don't know if that's an option, but just trying to look at both sides here.
Do you have any comment to those options on limitations?
My understanding is that may be possible. I'll have to confirm.
Commissioner Burke, I guess to answer your question, it is well within your commission's purview to apply conditions of approval. And for those that are new to this, the applicant is applying for a conditional use permit. That means that staff, on behalf of our Director of Community Development, can apply conditions. Think of them like, you know, commandments, things that they have to do, rules, that usually is connected to code or something like that. So it's entirely possible, entirely within your commission's purview to apply new conditions. The applicant is obviously still here. It would be a good idea to share those with him if you do have any ideas, to see if he confirms or not. In addition to conditions of approval, I've received some documents from the applicant regarding their own community good neighbor policy. So they have their own kind of best management practices, if you will, that they have, I believe, posted and probably required to have. It's just how to be a good neighbor, how to operate the business, all that stuff. So between the conditions of approval and their own policies, those are kind of like the guiding documents, except conditions aren't guidelines. It's something that they have to do. We can specify timeframes, numbers, whatever it is, if it pleases the commission.
I mean, I just want to acknowledge that we know addiction, you know, affects the community quite a bit, and I admire you dedicating your lives to helping the community. We need a place where people can recover with dignity and respect. Although I did read the letters, you know, the 10 letters, and I thank the community for coming out, because, I mean, however, just the operation expanding in a residential neighborhood, I question the compatibility, and I also have the concerns that Benjamin, you know, Commissioner Burke has, whether we can do so responsibly for the families in that neighborhood.
December 23rd every year, I've walked that street for the past 15 years. I parked my car over at the college, maybe illegally, I don't know. Don't come get me. And then we walk Clark Court. So when we first started doing it, we just had my oldest daughter, and we have a group of 4 families. We've done it every year practically. Sun, rain, it doesn't matter. And we've walked that street with umbrellas. It's the same day every year. You know, I remember growing up whose house that was, because I don't want to say their name, but I always loved the scripture that was on the roof. So, but ultimately, we've spent, you know, most of us in this room, you know, you can't, from Thanksgiving practically until the first of the year, you're not driving in and out of that street once it hits sundown. It's a pretty special place. You know, I think I've probably spent thousands of dollars on decorations because of all of you guys, because my girls have come home every Christmas and they want our house to look just like yours. But irrespective of that, you know, to comment on the residents, it is our Candy Cane Lane. Before coming to Lancaster, we had a Candy Cane Lane in Ventura where I was born, and so to know that we have that here is pretty special. You know, I think you drive around our streets and it's very apparent what you guys do is necessary. I just personally have some very extreme concerns about expanding to double the size this quickly with some of the comments made by your neighbors and some of the data points that you guys have brought forth. A 6-to-1 ratio may work. You know, I think Mr. Tran, is it Dr. Tran or Mr. Tran? Professor Tran. You know, anytime you double the crowd, it's even more difficult to maintain. So I do simply have some concerns that six occupants to one staff member at any one time is just simply not enough, or 12 to 2 even. I've got some big concerns there. Looking at the floor plan of the ADU, I have some concerns shoving people into recovery into very small places where they're forced to be stuck next to somebody. Also recovering, depending on the circumstances, could be very difficult. Recovery is necessary. You know, it doesn't take a genius to drive around our city and know that we need your help, and thank you for what you do. Please understand. But you got to understand too, you know, that we owe a duty not only to you as the property owner and the business owner, but all these individuals up here to hear them out. So our job is to try to figure out how do we balance this for the success of everybody. So again, I've got some pretty good safety concerns. You know, we've got some comments about cleanliness and issues that I think that need to get addressed before I personally can get behind the project as proposed.
There's plenty of property, homes with property in this valley that would be perfect for a facility like that.
So probably for the education of our new commissioner, Council, can you give us the options generally, what we can do, so I don't maybe misspeak or provide us a different direction? Because obviously we can approve, a motion to approve the project, we can potentially deny the project, and I know there's other options. So I think it might be sound for Mr. Cannon if we get an opportunity to understand what our options are before we present a motion.
Thank you, Chairman. Regarding approval of the project, you can approve it as proposed if you wish, or you could approve it and add conditions of approval if you think there are any in particular that staff or I can help you draft, either right away at this meeting or perhaps bring forward at the next meeting for your consideration, along with potential approval. If you are of a mind collectively to deny approval of the application for the CUP, my recommendation would be to, first of all, the motion would be to preliminarily deny the CUP and direct staff to bring forward at the next Planning Commission meeting for consideration and possible action by the Commission of a resolution disapproving or denying the CUP. And what that would accomplish, if that's your preliminary conclusion tonight to deny, that would enable a full record to be created at the Planning Commission level with a reference to the findings that you cannot positively make, only negatively make, with the help of staff and myself drafting the resolution with those negative findings, and enable an appeal if one is to be presented to the city council within 10 days of the next meeting, with an ample record for the council to consider what you've done in the form of a resolution. And that's why I would recommend that if you're leaning towards denial. And again, if you are, I can help by reciting the recommended motion once again at the right time.
Did everyone understand what he just said, what the option is? Okay.
Thank you, and thank you to the members of the community. Thank you to the applicant. I have 3 questions. So my first question is the facility or representative or the homeowner or the owner of the property, are they a member of that community's neighborhood watch or something similar to that?
If I may defer to the applicant to answer that question.
Thank you. And this is probably a question to you too, I hope that's okay. Are there any?
Sir, if you want to, so we're not,
Sure.
we're not hollering at you over the
Exactly.
staff. If you don't mind joining us again, we might ask you some more questions, please.
And I recommend the answer to that question be repeated at the microphone if you can.
You want me to repeat the
Yes,
question?
please.
So my first question was, are you a member of the neighborhood watch of the community?
So we are not a member of the Neighborhood Watch, but we definitely are willing to.
Thank you. And my other question is in regards to your referral and intake process. So are there, and I'll just keep it simple, are there any priorities that do you prioritize an intake process or patients from Lancaster? Because I know that you get patients from Ventura County and you get referrals from North Hollywood. So other counties and other parts of this county?
So we're a facility that only accepts private insurance. So we don't take Medi-Cal, Medicare. We only take PPO insurances, business professionals, families. That's the type of demographic we take.
Thank you. And I see in the staff report that you guys do have safeguards and the safety plans in place.
Yes,
So
protocols.
let me know if you can answer this question here in this setting. What are the safeguards that you have in place to prevent overdoses?
So we have 24-hour staff. We do an excessive screening on who's coming in, so we know what type of drugs they're on. We know exactly the medication management that we need for these clients, but sometimes, people bring stuff where we can't search. So we do our due diligence by monitoring everybody from 15 to 30 minutes, every 15 to 30 minutes daily, 24 hours a day. We look at the security cameras. We have the locks everywhere in place. Everything is just protocols and security measures are added. And if something goes wrong, we talk and we deliberate and fix the issue and make new protocols and new security systems and new measures.
Thank you. And lastly, same question, but for what is the safeguards in place to make sure that you don't intake someone who is a fugitive of law enforcement or who has an open-ended criminal history, right? Somebody who's on trial or somebody who's
Yeah, so
background checks.
we do the screening. We have a very intensive screening, but we unfortunately can't deny people like that. But usually those people don't have private insurances. They usually come from the state. They have Medi-Cal, Medicare, and that's the answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other questions for the applicant before we excuse him?
Not the applicant, but staff. I have a sort of recommendation I've been brewing over, if it's okay with you guys to put out there.
Well, before you do that, without objection, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. We've heard from the public and the applicant, and now we can proceed to a motion.
So, I don't know if this is, if both sides, I hate to say sides, or the rehab and the property owners are up to it, but maybe coming back next meeting with, I'm sorry, sir, the teacher, Palmdale High School might be a great representative for the community to sit down with the business owner, hear from your neighbors, come up with what is, kind of beneficial to both, right? I mean, like I recommended, maybe 2, maybe 1 additional bed per time under the CPU, something like that. I'm not sure how that would go, but to come back with a new recommendation for the CPU to be in place.
Without putting words in your mouth, it seems like you're not in favor of approving the CUP as currently prepared.
Correct. Or deny.
Or denying it. So something similar to what council provided.
Right.
I think, do you mind giving us just rehash that one more time so I think that everyone can understand what that recommendation is, please?
Commissioner Burke, please let me know if I'm wrong, but I think what you're suggesting is the proponents and the opponents of the proposed CUP meet and confer as to whether additional conditions of approval may be imposed on the project such that the project can be brought forward with a resolution of approval, as before you tonight, but with augmented conditions of approval beyond those in your agenda packet tonight. Is that what you have in mind?
That's why I have you, sir. Good job.
So then how would he formulate that into a motion if he were going to do so?
I think the motion would be to continue this matter, not to necessarily reopen the public hearing. You don't have to do that. You've heard full testimony. But to continue the commission's deliberation, now that the public hearing has been closed, in order to enable staff to oversee, generally, the proponent of the CUP and the neighbors getting together to discuss additional conditions of approval that can be brought forward at your next meeting, along with a potential resolution to approve, much like is in the packet tonight.
Can I motion what you just said?
Yes.
I just motioned what council said.
So we have a motion then by Commissioner Burke. Obviously, with open motion, we have to entertain a second if someone's willing to second his motion.
I'll second it.
So now with a second, then we need to take that to a vote, okay? So everyone give yourselves an opportunity to consider the motion. Do you need it clarified again before we vote? Mr. Cannon?
So the motion, so I'm understanding, is to continue the public hearing with the understanding that the next time this comes before the commission, there will be some special conditions for this for this conditional use.
Actually, the public hearing itself will not be continued.
Okay.
It has been closed.
Okay.
However, the item itself, the potential approval or disapproval of the CUP, will be brought back at the next meeting to see where things stand regarding additional conditions of approval.
Okay, I understand.
And for whatever it's worth for for our discussion up here, for everyone in the audience, I think it's very important to recognize that what we heard today is public safety, parking, cars in and out of the street, the number of people at the facility. How do we address those with those conditions on the CUP? If they can be. I don't know, maybe they can't. Maybe we're not willing to on either side. I think to the comment, I think Ms. Vogel said that they had 10 days to consider responses. For a 12-house street, 11 not including your house, because I know you're in favor of it, sir. But I don't think it's enough time for them to have an opportunity to really weigh on what they need. And I know staff works incredibly hard, our staff here, to prepare these reports. But a lot of what was said today, they didn't hear until today either. So I'm in favor of keeping the public hearing closed and continuing this item for whatever it's worth.
Can I ask a question?
So we have a motion and a second, so we're going to vote.
Any more discussion? Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Mr. Burke's motion carries 4 yeses and 1 no with 1 absent. So we'll see everyone back likely at the next meeting. Hopefully there's some meeting of the minds here, okay? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to public hearing item number 4. This is the Sierra Gateway Neighborhood Plan. We have our applicant, of course, is our own City of Lancaster. And Ms. Edwin, I'll let the audience, we can let the audience leave before we get started, so we don't have to interrupt you, so.
Chairman Derryberry, you said no questions yet to this lady. When would we have an opportunity to ask a question?
You can address questions to staff, ma'am.
To staff here.
Right, so,
And staff here?
right, I'd wait till the meeting was over maybe tonight on any questions you may have. Otherwise, you can reach out to staff, you know, later on this week.
Okay, well, I'm, very confused about being ordered to meet,
You weren't ordered to meet, ma'am.
but if we care about the issue,
Then
we have plans to be gone for the next month.
So we're hoping the neighborhood can continue to discuss along with the applicant to give us an opportunity to consider whether the conditions could be approved.
We never met him until the sign went up.
Sure,
Then he came around and introduced himself.
I understand.
He wants to be a good neighbor, but we never met him
What?
until a big
I think,
doubling change was to happen.
well, I think your voice was heard tonight, so we'll continue to hear you, I assure you.
And to give more input by emailing you, or how would we do that?
Communicate with staff, ma'am. So
They email it to you.
they get the information to us, correct?
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Edwin, the floor is yours, thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Derryberry and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Shannon Edwin. I am an associate planner with the city's planning division. The next item I have before you is for a new specific plan known as the Sierra Gateway Neighborhood Plan. I'm going to get started with an overview of the area that the specific plan covers and even what a specific plan is. A specific plan is essentially a focused visioning and zoning document for an identified or specific area of the city. For example, downtown Lancaster and the Boulevard are within the downtown Lancaster specific plan, which is what allows for more flexibility to support compact and mixed-use development patterns, creating that classic downtown environment that's present today. The area we are looking at is located directly adjacent to the downtown Lancaster area and the Boulevard. The plan area covers approximately 323 acres and is generally bounded by Avenue I to the north, Division Street to the east, Fern Avenue to the west, and Avenue J to the south, with Sierra Highway bisecting the planning area. Some of the key landmarks in this area include the Boeing Plaza with the famous Boeing plane at Sierra Highway and Lancaster Boulevard, and these are also shown on the screen. The Lancaster Metrolink station on Sierra Highway, Jane Reynolds Park located on the west side of the planning area off of Avenue J, and the Lancaster Community Center located on the east side of the plan area off of Yucca Avenue. Next, I want to give a little background on this area and some of the previous planning efforts. This area is currently governed by the Transit-Oriented Development, or TOD, Zones Plan. This plan was adopted in 2015 with the most recent update in 2020. The plan had a vision for compact, walkable, mixed-use development oriented around the Metrolink station. A major goal of this plan was to also capitalize on the success of the Boulevard revitalization that had been completed in 2010. So why are we updating this plan now? The TOD zones plan, as it exists now, heavily focuses on design and architectural styles, which has been complicated for the public to understand and challenging for staff to implement. For example, the plan as it currently is has no residential density maximums. Instead, applicants would have to essentially design a project first to determine how many units they could be able to fit on their property, because most of the standards were based on the design of the building. To help streamline and simplify, the New Sierra Gateway Plan identifies maximum density allowances, so applicants and staff can do that back of the napkin math to get a sense of how many units they can build on their property. We also have seen that the vision of the TOD zone plan itself has just unfortunately not come to fruition, and it is no longer reflective of the community's current needs. An update to the TOD zone plan is also identified as a program in our certified housing element. The housing element identifies this area as an opportunity for more housing near transit and calls for a more streamlined approach to better support housing development in the area. And just a little bit on the update process. This update was made possible through grants awarded to the city by the Southern California Association of Governments, or SCAG, for the Regional Early Action Planning Grants 2.0 program. Through this grant, we have been able to receive support from SCAG as well as our consultant DUDEC, who assisted us at every stage of plan preparation. I also want to make a note that there is no development or construction proposed as part of this plan update. The plan itself would serve as the visioning, land use, and zoning document that would guide future development in the area. So what things are like today in this area? It's primarily made up right now of a mix of low-density commercial uses and includes some light industrial uses and auto repair businesses. There's also a mix of single-family and multifamily residential throughout the plan area. On the screen, we have a few photos of some of the different types of land uses in the plan area, including the Lost Angels Career Center, which is shown on the upper right, located on Beach Avenue. A major goal of this plan was to truly be shaped by the community. We really wanted to make sure it was reflective of the current community needs so that we could create a plan that was more usable to help support future investments in this area. With the support of SCAG and DUDEC, we were able to host 2 open house style community workshops. We had 4 targeted stakeholder meetings with local groups, including Lost Angels, the Boulevard Association, the Lancaster Community Center, and Metrolink. We also had a presence at multiple community events to pass out information and gather input. This included the Boulevard Farmers Market, the Love Your City cleanup event, and last year's State of the City. We also had online participation available through a dedicated webpage and information, as well as an online survey people could participate in. On the screen, we have a few pictures of some of these different outreach events. And I also want to give a major shout out to city staff as well, who are our internal stakeholders. We were able to meet with and get feedback from Public Works, Parks, Housing, and the Lancaster Police Department. These conversations helped us shape the plan to be more implementable so we could more realistically work towards the community's vision. So after the existing conditions analysis and feedback we received from the community, the plan was re-envisioned as the Sierra Gateway Neighborhood Plan, or SGNP. The intent of this name change was to celebrate and capture the unique characteristics of this neighborhood, both now and its vision for the future. This area functions as the gateway to both the city and the region, with being located along Sierra Highway, a major route both within the city and throughout the county, as well as being at the center of the city near Lancaster Metrolink, which provides regional commuter service throughout Southern California. The hope of this plan is to continue to support goals of walkable, transit-oriented mixed-use development in a more approachable, streamlined, and implementable capacity, given its prime location at the city center and with such strong connections to major travel corridors. Now let's get into some of the major changes from the TOD zones plan to the new Sierra Gateway plan. First, we simplified the zoning. The TOD zones had 3 commercial zones that varied pretty greatly between what was allowed there and the different building designs that were permitted. So we reduced this down to two commercial designations, mixed use, or MU, which is shown in pink on the screen, and then corridor, or C, which is shown in red. The C zone is located along mostly the major travel corridors. So these is more appropriate for being located along them, so development standards take that into account, as well as allowing more of the nightlife, entertainment, and auto-oriented uses with the appropriate entitlements. The mixed-use zone allows for a wide variety of commercial uses with development standards that also reflect its closer proximity to neighborhoods and residential uses. All zones, including mixed use and corridor, allow residential uses by right and as a standalone use, which was not the case in some of the zones under the previous TOD plan. Another major zoning update is the rezone of an existing drainage basin to public or P. That's shown kind of in the middle of the screen. There's a big area in green that's labeled P. While there are several tiny parcels that make up this site, it currently functions as an existing drainage basin and was previously zoned neighborhood medium. After conversations with Public Works, it was determined that through the likelihood of this being able to be a neighborhood or developed with housing and redirecting that drainage would be pretty difficult. So the likelihood of getting housing there would be pretty minimal. So as part of this, we are rezoning it to public with the intent that it could be potentially open space and recreation space. It was mentioned several times through community outreach that there's a desire for more open space and recreational space, especially on the east side of the plan area where there currently isn't any. So we saw this basin as a potential opportunity, which I'll also touch on a little bit more in the next few slides. Neighborhood low, which is shown in beige, and neighborhood medium in orange, are largely remaining the same as the previous TOD plan, given that these neighborhoods are fairly built out. The biggest update for the neighborhood medium zone is that some commercial uses may now be permitted in these zones with the appropriate entitlements. So the next part of the plan is also really rooted in feedback we received from the community. What came across almost all outreach platforms was this desire to see more aesthetic improvements in the area as well as improved safety. It was mentioned often that the area lacks shade trees, lighting, and sidewalks, which make it a less comfortable environment to walk in, as well as the lack of maintenance and upkeep on some of the older buildings in the area. Street improvements are often associated with new buildings and construction. However, since a lot of this area is built out, a new tiering approach is being proposed in the plan to hopefully support gradual redevelopment and safety improvements to this area. The way this plan would work is that projects would fall into one of three tiers. Tier 1 would include things like a change of occupancy of an existing building, tenant improvements, or very minor expansions to an existing building. A Tier 1 project would be required to provide a security plan and also provide 1 to 2 improvements to their site. The Sierra Gateway plan provides a catalog of various improvements that can be selected from, and that can range from something simple like adding a decorative trim of paint to an otherwise solid colored building, to something like enhanced landscaping. A few examples are shown on the screen of what some of these things could be. A Tier 2 project would be a larger, more significant expansion, up to 50% total expansion to the floor area of the building. Tier 2 project would also need to provide security plan, as well as bringing their landscaping up to code requirements and providing 2 to 3 improvements from the improvements catalog, or they may propose additional improvements that are similar. A Tier 3 project would be any expansion over 50% or new development, which at that point they would need to comply with the requirements of the plan, which also include requirements to provide a security plan. The hope is that this approach provides flexibility to applicants while also achieving the community's goals to see both improved safety and aesthetic improvements to the area. Lastly, I wanted to touch on a few key features of the future visioning for this area. First, while the area is fairly built out, there would be limited new development anticipated. There's likely one larger multifamily development that would occur south of the Lancaster Community Center off Yucca and Nugent. Shown on the left are City Housing Authority owned parcels, which are highlighted in red. The long-term goal of this area is to see a major new housing development on these sites, which may be a catalyst for other public improvements in this area. There's no projects proposed currently, but given that they are housing authority properties, that is the intended use for those. I also wanted to share the graphic on the right, which provides a vision for the drainage basin that we discussed earlier. There's no open space or park space on the east side of the plan area, so the hope would be to eventually make the basin multi-use to include a walking path around the perimeter, as well as sports fields that could be used during dry seasons. Again, this isn't currently a real project, but it is a vision should something similar, hopefully we can do something similar in the future. And the plan was crafted to support this vision so that these future improvements will meet fewer barriers to implementation. Getting into the public review and next steps, the draft plan was made available for public review on June 30th, 2026. A 20-day notice went out to all residents within the plan area as well as within a 500-foot radius. It was also posted in the Antelope Valley Press. To date, we've received 3 comment letters. One letter expressed concerns over some of the roadway recommendations presented in the plan. We did clarify with the commenter that there was no development proposed at this time and that these just reflect potential recommendations, but any projects that could come to the fruition in the future would be thoroughly evaluated to address any concerns. A second letter received expressed a desire for the city to focus on beautification or revitalization to improve the area. And lastly, a third comment letter was provided that included suggestions for more incentives for affordable housing in the plan. These letters have also been provided to the commission for reference. Now on to next steps. Should the Planning Commission recommend the plan for approval, the plan will be taken to City Council on August 25th and the second reading in September. Should the plan move forward, it would come into effect in October of 2026 and would replace the TOD zones plan. Before making the recommendation, I just want to reiterate that there's no new development or construction that would be associated with this plan approval. There are also a couple minor typos on the resolution that were provided in the PC packet I wanted to call out. First is the numbering of the sections. Section 8 on the resolution is listed twice. The sections would be updated to be sequential. Second, the date on the resolution on the signature page will be updated to reflect today's date. With that, staff recommends, with the mentioned typo fixes, the Commission adopt Resolution 2610, recommending the City Council adopt this Sierra Gateway Neighborhood Plan. I'm available for any questions.
I don't think besides the staff, does anyone recognize how much work really goes into what Ms. Edwin just put together for us. So thank you for what you're doing here.
Thank you.
You know, we know that this is an area of town that needs some attention, so thank you. Do we have any speakers tonight on this item?
Chair Derryberry, we do not.
Okay. Well, with that said, do we have any more questions for Ms. Edwin? Does anybody?
Not necessarily questions, but comments or observations over the years that I've noticed. So you mentioned that the previous TOD plan lacked enthusiasm and participation from developers, or some of the goals were not implemented. So as I was reading this packet, I was looking at some of the areas regarding like setbacks, front yard sides, things like that. And one of the things that I seem to recall is existing lot sizes, right? Some of those parcels are very small, and once you account for all the different setbacks and things like that, it yields a really small footprint that could be developed. So I think that maybe limits the type of developers or interest, that want to develop into those areas. The other thing that I seem to recall is existing infrastructure, so fire, water, utilities, things like that, I know have also in the past kind of been a deterrent for people. Because when you have a small parcel and you're trying to develop it, incurring, the cost of the utilities is just doesn't pencil out. So just observations.
Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And if I could just add on, that was definitely something we took into consideration with some of the development standards, especially in regards to some of the open space and landscaping requirements that would be required typically on, like, say, apartment buildings, given that we anticipate most developments would be on the smaller side or smaller multifamily. So that was taken into account so that they wouldn't require necessarily as much as something on a larger lot in the city.
Okay, that'd be great, because I know in the past plan that was a challenge.
Yeah,
So if it's addressed, that's great.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the constraints of it. So we tried to address that now.
I think this is the area, and I may be dating myself, where the Gazette lots are, isn't it?
Yeah, they are lovingly referred to as the Herald
The
Trust.
Heralds, yeah, the Herald, yeah. Sorry, I had that incorrect. So when you do a estate planning and trust work like my office does, every once in a while we'll get people that come by that have the Herald lots. Sorry, I call them Gazette lots, but yes, they're incredibly small lots here in this specific site. So, well, anyone else have any questions or comments for staff before we entertain a motion?
Just want to say thank you for all the hard work, and I see the vision. I do. And I think this would be good for the community center as well. Visibility of it, so yeah.
I can't go without saying thank you now as well, so thank you.
Okay, well then I'll entertain a motion if no one has any more comments.
No, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 26-10, recommending to the city council the following actions. A, approval of general plan amendment number 26-001, changing the land use designation of the plan area to specific plan. B, approval of zone change number 26-001, changing the zoning of the plan area to specific plan. C, approval of the zone text amendment number 26-001 to remove references to the MU-TOD zoning and TOD zones planned by amending Title 17 of the Lancaster Municipal Code. D, approval of the Sierra Gateway Neighborhood Plan number 26-001. And E, finding the project of statutorily exempt under California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA.
I'll second the motion.
And just to clarify for the record, that was subject to the minor clerical edits that staff recommended, correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, no further discussion. We'll go ahead and, I didn't close the public hearing yet, so I'll go ahead and confirm that we've done that now, and we'll go ahead and vote. Motion carries 5 yeses with 1 absent. Thank you again, Ms. Edwin. Mr. Nguyen, I think you're up. Any announcements for us?
Yeah, maybe a couple. Good afternoon, Chair Derryberry, members of the Planning Commission. I am Hai Nguyen. I'm the Assistant Director for Community Development. First and foremost, congrats to the Chair, and congrats to the Vice Chair, Carrillo, on the new appointments. I feel like this commission is in good hands. I'd like to thank former Commissioner Denise Latanzi for her contribution to this commission, and of course, big welcome to Commissioner Sean Cannon to this Planning Commission. Mr. Cannon is no stranger to the city. We're very excited to work with you. Yeah, like I said, I think this commission is in good shape. A couple announcements for the August PC. As we discussed earlier, the continued item will be heard by the commission. So we heard the directive to have the applicant work with the neighbors to figure out some conditions of approval that might work out, and we will share with you those findings in August. We also have a couple, maybe 2 or 3 other items as well, nothing to really mention at this point. And then lastly, looking ahead at the schedule, I guess we were talking about Candy Cane Lane. Let's talk about the December PC. Letting you know now that we are moving the December PC date from December 21st to December 14th. 1 week earlier so everyone can stop by Candy Cane Lane and do what they do during the holiday season. So thank you. Thank you for a well-ran meeting. Everything was nice and smooth. Very impressed with all the participants. Great discussion overall. So thank you to everyone that can hear me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the public business from the floor. This is the portion of the agenda that allows an individual the opportunity to address the commission on any subject regarding city business. Under state legislature, no action can be taken on non-agendized items. Members of the public should be aware that when addressing our planning commission regarding items not specifically referenced on the agenda, please complete a speaker card for the recording secretary. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Do we have any public speakers?
Chair Derryberry, we have one public speaker, David Paul.
Mr. Paul, come on down.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners, good afternoon. You know, I probably should have read the agenda, but it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been the same thing. I want to not forget some of the important things I want to say, and staffing ratios. If I don't get to that, remind me, please. My first job after the Army in 1975 was as a mental health technician in a residential treatment facility that had 80 beds in 8 houses on the facility, and it was built in a cornfield away from neighbors. And Scott Ehrlich actually consulted me when he was building Kensington for just the overall construction of a facility like that and how to get it to work. Now, the things you're talking about, or the residents are talking about, are the operational features that I have some thoughts on. And I mentioned the staffing ratios. You know, it's hard when you live in a neighborhood like that. When I first moved into Lancaster, there was a adolescent treatment facility down the street. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but they were teenage girls who, there were 8 of them in a house that had 4 bedrooms. So I don't know how that all worked, but it was noisy. It was, they went around the neighborhood and did a lot of things, and they're young kids and girls, and you don't want to be too hard on them. But some of these, I was most heartened by the fact that they only take good insurance. So if you have people in the facility that are responsible citizens from the beginning and have good insurance, the odds are lessened, but things happen. And I could tell you stories. I mean, I've worked in county jails and state prisons as well as residential treatment facilities. So there are things that happen, and the staffing at night sometimes gets a little sleepy, and you can't have that. So some of these things you're going to build in have to deal with how problems in the facility are handled initially by the staff. And if you only have one person there and they're not equipped to deal with it, it will spill over. So, good luck on that, because Commissioner Hernandez, of course, we need drug treatment. We need treatment for all sorts of things. I mentioned after the Army, it took me 15 years to put the cork in a bottle, and it's been almost 40 years since then. And that was just because I was disgusted with myself. So that's how treatment actually occurs. People do it themselves. They need help, and the neighbors also need their neighborhood preserved. So tough decision. I'll be looking forward to the next time to see what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Always good to see you, sir.
Chair Derryberry, we have another speaker by the name of Vicky Vogel.
Ms. Vogel, come back. You can finish what you were telling us.
I would like to, I did time myself and practiced at home.
So don't start the clock yet.
Thank you.
When I do public speaking, I always add time, and I tend to do a lot. And so when I run programs, a lot of MC work I do, I'm very careful to make sure we try to keep it on track. But I can appreciate, especially something as passionate as you are. So the floor is yours. Welcome back. We're glad to hear from you.
Thank you. I have a master's degree in ed psych and counseling and a school counseling credential as well as elementary teaching credential. I've experienced running special programs. What I didn't finish my story was these students of my husband's had dual diagnoses, some of them, addiction issues, depression, self-harm, bipolar. If you go to the website of this recovery center, which we never knew the name of, secret till 10 days ago, you might be alarmed. I was. They accept dual diagnoses, addictions of all kind, alcohol, cocaine, fentanyl, opioid, meth, gambling, pornography, sex addiction, borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, extremely high-risk individuals. And that's why putting so many in the same space is not a good idea. I don't think I finished. The following year, they hired 2 new teachers, 2 separate classrooms, in addition to my husband's, because it didn't work. So many high-risk individuals in a small space. Other points, we are zoned for single-family dwellings. It's why we have zoning laws. Quality of life. Homeowners and many, many others are affected by this decision. We are loyal citizens of Lancaster. What if the next house goes up for sale next door? They can make it 6 beds with no approval whatsoever when they buy it. How about 12? Now we have 24, a small apartment complex in the middle of Clark Court. Never met the owner before until he came to my house with a box of See's candy. Nice to meet you. I said, nice to meet you. Would have been nice to meet you over the last 3 years. He said, yes, but I'm here now, and I want to be a good neighbor. Really? Or do you want to make a lot more money by taking in double the number of residents? And he informed me, we only take private insurance. We're not taking people off the street. Well, if you really want to help people, there's an awful lot that need help that might not have private insurance. Quality of life, I said it, living on Clark Court. I'm distressed by the decision because I feel like it puts it in our court to negotiate. They want more residents. They want more money. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. I know this will go on. I'm recovering from cancer. Stress is one of the bad things in your life when you are recovering, excuse me, from a serious illness. And we do have plans. We'd love to lead the street, but we have lives and other things. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Vogel, I can't speak for the other individuals on the dais here with me, but I can tell you, I hope you enjoy the planned vacation it sounds like you may have. Stay stress-free to the best extent possible. I know that at least I heard the comments made tonight in great detail. The unique thing about this CUP application in general is that with the 6-bed occupant facility, the city doesn't have any real control over that. So when the CUP gets applied for, things change in that circumstance. So it's possible something could be done that's better for you. That's the reason why I think some of us may have made the decision that we did here tonight. So take that into consideration as well. Please work with staff, we will as well, and then we'll see you at the next meeting, okay? Please take care of yourself.
When is the next meeting?
We haven't gotten there yet. I haven't quite adjourned, but our next meeting will be August 17th, 3:30 in these chambers, okay?
We will not be here. A trip that had to be postponed last year because of the cancer battle and so on. But other representatives will.
Please, thank you. Does anyone else have anything this afternoon before we adjourn?
No, just want to welcome our new commissioner. Welcome to the commission. I'm also excited, as the city mentioned, to have you on board. And thank you to the community for taking the time to come and voice their opinions. They were definitely heard.
Mr. Cannon's no stranger to this dais up here. I watch from afar usually at my computer, so he's been up here I think more than I have, and I've sat on this dais with a number of commissions over the years. So welcome, sir. Thank you. Well, with that then, council, thank you for coming up here and helping us out today. Of course, the staff. I always say this: we have the best staff in the world at the City of Lancaster. So we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting to our next regular scheduled meeting of August 17th, 2026, 3:30 in these chambers. Everyone have a good